stuff's been going all right. You know, did that
Yeah,
tour
you've
in
been
Ohio.
touring
Hopefully, do some more in the spring.
for sure.
Yeah, right now I'm kind of trying to figure that out. There's a few things I'm considering, but
Yeah.
we'll see. See if
Yeah.
it happens.
Did I also see you kind of do some you play instruments on other kind of bands when they need some live support or touring help?
Yeah, yeah. I played guitar for this band, the OBGMs. There's like kind of Toronto like punk band.
Hmm.
They're really cool. Um, and then what else have I done? Oh, I was playing in uh, Jordan Blakely's project Smile Machine. Played
Awesome.
bass. She just moved to Philly though, so I mean, I hope I can still do it, but
Right.
I guess we'll see. And I did a little rap feature for something that I can't talk about yet, but
Okay.
um,
Keep my eyes out.
yeah, but yeah, other than that, just I teach music,
Yeah.
so
Nice.
just doing that with my days.
Cool. Well, thanks again for joining, dude. I figured we'll talk a little music up front, just usually touch on, especially this time of year. It's end of the year. People like to talk about their lists and whatnot. So um I guess we could start there. And do you have any favorites that you listened to this year?
Oh, well, let me pull it out. I made a list for the
Yeah,
internet.
because that's what everyone does now.
Yeah. Well, I did a thing for this one blog, and it was kind of limited to like 10.
Hmm.
Kind of like, well,
It's very difficult.
it's hard to narrow stuff down,
Right.
but let's see what I got here. It's a late edition, but I really liked the SZA album that just came out.
Yes,
It's really good.
for sure.
He's I feel like in a weird way, this might sound like a diss, but I feel like she writes the same song over and over again, but it's always good.
I mean,
It's
she
like a,
she like
it's a
has a
song
vibe and she
I
nailed
like.
it.
Yeah, exactly. It might not be good for some people, but I like
Yeah.
it. Um,
She did,
got
however, actually, it seems like she tried out what a lot of people are trying out these days, and it's like, rap or R&B artists trying out like a slightly emo sound or pop punk sound.
yeah,
She did like one track on the album that sounded like that,
yeah. It sounded like it could be like
like Willow
you
or
know,
you know,
yeah, like a pop punk B-side for. It
right?
doesn't even sound like they really tried to like produce it very
No,
well either.
no.
Just kind of awesome. But let's see what else is here. The Chat Pile record.
Hmm.
I was listening to that the other day again. It's that was a grower for me.
That caught a lot of people off guard, I feel like.
Yeah, I didn't know how I felt about it at first, and then
Yeah,
because sometimes heavy music can seem a little like monotonous or I
yeah, I
don't know,
feel you.
but just like yeah, but they're awesome. I like
I
it.
feel like it had a kind of a similar breakout to that first Death Heaven album,
Hmm.
where it just kind of it blew up, and it was like it was super heavy, but it was a little different than like the rest of the genre.
Right. So it just stuck out in a really
Yeah.
good way. Um, I did really like that MJ Lenderman
Hmm.
album. Quality folk indie rock, sort
Definitely.
of.
It's funny
Um,
when I think he did some shows with. Did he do shows with Mountain Goats?
oh, I don't know.
Because I feel like oddly enough, it's actually a pretty spot on pairing. There, I do
Yeah,
see a lot of Mountain Goats in there.
yeah, yeah. He's a really cool musician and a nice nice person too.
Mhm.
So let's see what else. Uh, I did like the Mama record
Mhm.
a lot. They have a very like I don't know. It feels like their sound just feels like candy. You know, it's like
Yeah,
really easy to like it. You
for
know what
sure.
I mean? They like touch on these very kind of catchy things that like I already liked before I even
Right,
put
right.
the song on. So it's kind of like you're just giving me everything that I want. Yeah, they're cool. The Soul Glow album was really, really dope.
Mhm.
I almost feel like people didn't talk about that one enough, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not in those circles, but
Right.
just feel like production wise, they just really nailed it. Like, I don't know.
I feel like it's the sort of thing where everyone feels it's good, but for some reason it's not like, hyped up as much. Like everyone in our Discord like loves that album. And but it is not, it doesn't always like come to the top of discussions.
Maybe we just expect that from them now.
Yeah, right.
Maybe it's just like,
I mean, it should be that way.
yeah, definitely. Um, let's see. It's a pretty long list, so I'm just gonna kind of skip around.
Yeah.
Um, um, I did really like the Earl Sweatshirt record, even though I feel like I listened to it. It came out in January,
Super early in the year, yeah.
so I feel like I listened to it so much then, and then as the year went on, I almost forgot that it was like this year.
Yeah,
You know.
definitely.
Um, let's see. Uh, oh, Nick Hakim put out a pretty cool record.
I haven't actually heard that one.
Yeah, he kind of toes this line of like sort of indie rock with like neo soul stuff. I
Hmm.
feel like some of his albums might be more of the neo soul, but I feel like the new one was a little bit more like I don't know. He like his first single it was co-written with Alex G, and
Oh,
like
nice.
it just has this like it was an unlikely pairing,
Hmm.
but it really worked
Oh, sweet.
really well. Yeah. Um, the let's see, Sasami.
Hmm.
I just like her record a lot. I think that went under a lot of people's radars.
It did, and I feel like it was like it was a pretty big shift in her sound too, right? I feel
I
like
don't know. I don't know. I don't know what her stuff before this was like, honestly.
and maybe I'm completely wrong, but I feel like my association with her was more, even not entirely songwriter, but I feel like she went kind of heavy on this one and got kind of weird with it, which
Yeah,
I dig.
yeah. There's some of like the very indie stuff
Right.
on it, but like she just like went for the kind of metal
Yeah.
stuff that you would I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say that like I expect certain things out of her because
Yeah.
I don't know her discography like
Sure.
that well,
Yeah.
but that was really cool.
Cool.
Um, um, I'll give you like one more.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did really like the Mama Larky album. Do you know that band?
I've heard the band, but I I don't know that I actually listened to the album, and I would like to go back to it.
Yeah, the new one has like very like kind of like thin, janky guitar stuff. It gets a little mathy sometimes.
Hmm.
And yeah, I feel like it just brought out more stuff that I like from, guitar driven music.
Sure.
Uh, but yeah, I guess my comparison was like Deerhoof, but they don't really sound like Deerhoof. So
Okay.
it's just like I think it's just the guitar sounds like
Yeah. Yeah.
reminds me a little bit of that. Uh,
Okay.
But it's a good record. I listened to it all the way through a few times. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
But
Yeah, I'll check that one out as well. Um, cool. Yeah, I mean there was a ton of good stuff this past year. You also put it out an album this past year,
I did.
which we mentioned you toured a little bit for. You toured with Mr. Goblin, which I was a big fan of his album as well. Um,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
you put out a solid album. It was what was it like, kind of getting that out? Was it a long time coming, or did it come together pretty quickly?
It was a long time coming. I
Yeah,
had a lot of that stuff done. Well, I had a lot of songs done when the pandemic
yeah,
started, and then you know, my life just drastically changed, and I had a lot of time at home.
yeah.
So I kind of finished it up in the first, you know, 6 months,
Sure.
and then it was like, how am I gonna release this? Or is anyone releasing anything? Or how are
Hmm.
we gonna do this? Or whatever. So that was its own struggle, and you know, sort of. I mean, even like the tour with Pile, like
Yeah.
I had talked to Rick like almost 2 years. It seemed like before it actually happened.
Right.
I don't think it was 2 years, but it felt like forever. But then, in my head, I was just kind of like, this is gonna get canceled, or it's like it's not actually gonna happen, or whatever.
Yeah.
Then everything, went off, without a hitch, and it all went well. No one got COVID
That's
somehow.
as good as you can ask for, right?
Yeah, we didn't have to cancel anything, and the shows were good. So,
That was a sick lineup. All
mhm.
three of you guys on there.
Yeah, did you go to the Chicago show?
I had tickets to, and then unfortunately I got sick,
Oh man,
so I was not able to go. But
I'm
yeah, I
sorry.
mean, that's kind of what we deal with now, right?
It is.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I especially love that. I think was Pile playing in anniversary of Baby Blue? Is that the album?
No, no, no. Dripping.
Dripping, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so that's an album that um, I feel like, um, in Boston, there's this little time when there's like a lot of really, really sick bands. I was living up there, and like I feel like uh, my band, Grass is Green at the time, we played around with Pile a lot.
hmm,
Uh, Bad History Month was up there, and um, Cal Marx,
yeah, yeah.
Krill was getting their start then,
Okay,
and yeah, there's just felt like there was a lot going on, and I just remember like when that album dropped, I remember like exactly where I was, you know,
for sure.
I just like I don't know, so I haven't listened to any of the songs in so long, so just like
Yeah,
seeing them live again was kind of like, oh man, I remember.
was touring with that kind of surreal for you?
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, also I hadn't seen any of them for so long, just
right.
because of the pandemic and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah.
it was really just good to see them again and you know hang out and stuff. So
Awesome. Are you trying to write anything new? You trying to put out something, another album, or are you kind of chilling for a little?
um, I mean, yes and no. I was actually that was what I was doing before I hopped onto this call
Okay,
because I feel like for me it's like I'm a creature of habit, so it's just like if I get myself in that frame of mind,
sure.
it'll work out. But if I'm just like binging Netflix shows and
Yeah,
stuff, and
it's very easy to put it off.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, I don't know that anything is gonna actually get done anytime soon, but at
Yeah.
least I want to start like thinking about stuff and you know, because I'm gonna turn around and like this kind of like light period for me
Mhm.
is just gonna vanish, and I'm not gonna have any time,
For
and
sure.
so I might as well start digging around some stuff. So
Cool. Well, outside of it's not quite Netflix shows, but do you find yourself maybe getting distracted with some NBA games?
so that's actually my like quiet place. So, like I actually put on NBA games because like I have League Pass, so I can watch
Oh,
any game
yes.
I want.
There you go.
And so I put that on and I'll just like start playing guitar and kind of like I can come in and out of watching it,
Yeah.
especially if it's like a game that I don't really care that much about, but it's just find it entertaining.
Sure.
So it's almost like basketball has the opposite effect.
It's almost like you're scoring the games.
Sort of, maybe. Yeah.
Awesome. So you did mention that you are sadly a Wizards fan.
Yeah.
My
Uh,
condolences.
yeah, I mean, I think there are a few kind of disappointing teams this year.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to act like woe is me, like everything is terrible, but like our organization is like, I mean, it's always been like this, you
Yeah.
know. And in the 90s we were awful, just
Mhm.
god awful. So at least we haven't been that necessarily. But they just kind of like shoot for, you know, like a 7 seed.
Yeah. As a
And
Bulls fan, I get it. Like
that's the dream. And it's like, guys, let's get real here.
like best case scenario is you squeak into the playoffs and are a first round exit.
Right. And that's not cool.
No,
Like,
because then you can't build out your roster.
yeah, because like, you spend all this money on these like middling players and they're really good, but you look at the kind of moves that the teams that really make it
Right.
make, and you're like, well, we can't compete with that. So like,
Sure.
what are we even doing?
I mean, yeah.
We just paid Bradley Beal like $250 million. It's so much money.
It almost feels like he's like getting just like he took money just to be like, this is a job.
Well, yeah, I mean, he'd be crazy not to
Right.
do that, but at the same time, like we didn't have to give it to him
Yeah.
after what we just went through with John Wall.
Right.
Like,
Right.
and John Wall's one of my favorite players ever, but
Definitely.
he got hurt at like the wrong time, and we're probably still paying him.
Yeah. Right. How'd you feel about that reunion?
um, I mean, I always think it's cool because like there is a little bit of animosity
Yeah.
uh between the organization and John Wall. I thought that they were being really unfair to him in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
So anytime I get to see him like, be him again,
Right.
I I am happy, even if it's at our expense. And
Yeah.
I wish Beal was playing in that game because that would have been pretty fun.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I felt a lot of that with how things ended with Derrick Rose with the Bulls because like that's
They
like
like
that
hit him
that's your
down.
Chicago dude, and then like sorry we're gonna send you the Knicks, and it felt very contentious just at the end, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, gotta love him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But so are you from DC area originally?
Yeah, that
Cool.
would be the only reason why anyone would ever
Yeah.
choose that team. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's where I
Yeah.
grew up. My dad used to take me and my brother uh they were the Bullets back then,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and they had this old crappy arena, and yeah, my dad would like take us to games and stuff, and like we could stay up later
Right.
on a school night and like You know, those
Did you
are
did you embrace the Gilbert Arenas years?
fully.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like hilarious now,
He
but
kind of went away and now he's back a little bit in his own. He's like has like a podcasting personality.
yeah, that's like kind of how he, you know, like he's another player that we like paid
Oh
so
yeah.
much money, and he squandered it like, you know, in a heartbeat. But I
Right.
feel like when it was over, it was just over, and then he, I mean, he's like a pretty funny guy.
Yeah.
He's kind of a dick too, but
Oh,
like,
definitely. Definitely
but
a
he,
dick.
like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like his personality is like meant for that in
Right.
a
He
way.
created like a social media persona almost.
Where he just like talks trash about like current players, and like when he talks trash too, you're like, well, he did score 50 on this guy, so
Right.
like he has every right to,
Yeah.
because he was that good.
He
He's the
gets
best
at
we
him in the
ever had.
comments for sure.
He is the best we ever had. Um, and when it was happening, it was almost like uh, we don't deserve good things to happen to us. Like, why
Mhm.
why is he here? And then we realized why he was here, because no one else wanted him, because he was like an asshole, and he was like a troublemaker.
Yeah.
So the writing was like already on the wall. Like everyone knew that he was a great player, and he yeah, I don't know. The whole guns thing was just like
Yeah.
the craziest
That
thing.
that kind of felt like
About.
the end is near. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't want it to be that, because he had had some injury trouble himself,
Right.
and without his confidence, like we didn't have much. And I mean, we
Yeah.
had Caron Butler, who was awesome, and
Anton Jameson, right?
Davidson. Yep,
Yeah.
he was great.
Ron Butler chewing on straws.
Oh, I love that guy, man.
Yeah,
Great. And now he's a coach.
that's awesome.
Yeah, he coaches at the Heat, I think. And but yeah, those were good years. I mean, we just
Mhm.
happened to run into LeBron's like rise to fame, like at the
Yeah.
exact same time.
Kind
So
of like everyone in the East for
yeah, they knocked
most of
us
that
out
time.
2 years in a row.
Yeah.
2 years in a row, actually.
Yeah.
So
Well, as far as the current team, I mean, you have to like be all right. Are there any positives you feel with the team right now?
yeah, we lucked out with Kuzma.
Yeah.
Kuzma's
Do you
turned
like
into.
Rui?
I do, but he can't stay on the court. He keeps on getting these little injuries. It makes me. Everyone on our team gets these little dings,
Yeah.
and it makes me think that like we don't have a good training staff or something. 'Cause every other game, someone's not playing because like hamstring, or like,
Mhm.
and I'm like, is this happening to everyone, or is it just us, or I don't know, like.
It does feel like there are teams that have stretches where if players consistently get hurt, like you have to look at the training staff.
Yeah,
Like that's kind of
yeah.
their job. I don't know.
Brad's been on and off this year,
Yeah.
and but when he's played, it's been great.
Yeah.
Porzingis is. I'm just cautiously optimistic, because he
Yeah.
looks like he's just gonna like break in half,
Yeah.
you know, at any
That's
moment.
kind of par for the course with him these days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's been playing really good,
Mhm.
so it's like cool that he's playing that well. But as a unit, yeah, there's just you know we can't do anything about the teams that are like have winning records. Like,
Right.
we can beat a few mediocre squads. We can give you know maybe we'll give the Bucks hell or something
Yeah.
once, but we're not good for much else right now.
It's tough, especially when I'm sure you've seen rumors about Kuzma. They're ready to just unload him. Um, do you think he'll
Well,
actually get traded?
um, knowing us, probably, but at the same time, it's one of you know it's one or the other. Like, either we're gonna uh like wildly overpay him,
Yeah.
or we're
Get
gonna
ripped
trade him,
off.
and then we're gonna regret like whatever
Yeah.
trade we made, because he was just kind of like collateral damage in the whole Westbrook thing,
Right.
and I felt like the Lakers were kind of dumb for letting him go, but he actually became more of a like a I don't know, he might make the All-Star game. Like he's pretty
He's
good.
putting up, at least point wise, he's scoring.
Yep. So I mean, I mean, if we can extract some kind of value out of that, then I guess that's cool. But
Yeah.
it would just be our luck if he, has some Hall of Fame like
Right.
there with Phoenix or something, and like, or I don't know, whatever. But
Yeah.
I like Kuzma.
Yeah.
He's
Plus he's people love his fits, man. Those, the crazy, I can't get the image of that crazy pink sweater out of my
Yeah,
head.
the sweater with the looked like it was for somebody who was like 10 feet tall.
It was for George Mirasan. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, he's cool. I don't like really like a lot of our draft picks. We're just kind of like very like I don't know. I think if you draft in the top 10, that person should change your team.
Yeah. Even
You know,
even if like if you're drafting like, 6 through 10, they should at least be like a pretty active role player.
yeah. So we drafted Corey Kispert. He's an active role player, but he's not really like what they said he was going to be.
Yeah.
And then Denny Avdia, he starts now, but he's really good on defense. He
Mhm.
rebounds. He can handle the ball, but he's very shy about trying to shoot. And in like, big moments, he just defers to somebody else. And it's like,
Yeah.
dude, we picked you number 9. Like, if you're number 9 in the NBA draft, like, you're like really good. You gotta like
Yeah.
just I don't know. That's just
No,
me. I don't know what it's like to be 6'9" and
that's
like
fair. That's fair. Uh yeah, I remember Bulls were eyeing picking him as well, and then they took Patrick Williams like way sooner than he should have, but playing like 4 games in college. But yeah, I mean, I think there are things to like about the Wizards, but yeah, I feel you on that forever bubble playoff feeling. It's not
yeah.
fun. But you said you also kind of into the Nets.
Yeah, they're like my backup team
Yeah.
because I'm here. I live
Right.
here. And yeah, and yeah, I think KD is legitimately like one of my favorite players.
Yeah. I feel the same way because I lived in Brooklyn from like 2017 to last year. And I mean, Katie is, it's like, I don't care how much shit he gets as a personality. He's just so fun to watch.
Yeah. We're blessed to be, you know, uh, like alive to see him play. Like,
Yeah.
you know, a 7-footer who is just like that talented. And I mean, that stretch in the beginning of the year, I mean, they weren't winning at that time.
Mhm.
They are now, but at
Right.
that time though, he was like single-handedly carrying the team, and his stretch was like 25 points and above for like the longest in history ever to start a season or something like that.
Didn't he like tweet something too, like throwing shade at the rest of his teammates?
Oh, I don't know.
I think he said
Doesn't sound
something
like him,
like,
but
he's like, I'm literally carrying this team. Like, no offense, but like we have Nick Claxton on our team. It was like something like that.
but yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I don't keep up with this Twitter.
Yeah, yeah.
I know a lot of people do and are try to bait him into saying
Oh, of course.
stuff because he will say it.
Yeah.
But are any of us really that different?
No, absolutely not. I mean, how like I can't imagine like having that many people tweet at you all the time and just like, yep, just ignore it.
Just ignore it. And yeah, I mean, people know exactly what buttons to push, though.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah, that's gotta be tough.
and nobody can say that they're as good at anything as
Mhm.
he is at basketball. So it's just kind of like an insane thing to even
Right.
you know,
Yeah, but
do.
as a player, like dude, like when you watch him shoot, like when it's going in, like right when it leaves his hands. It's just he's just got that smooth shot.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, Kyrie shenanigans aside, he did hit that awesome game winner.
yeah. What I saw that in real time. It was
Oh shit.
pretty great. It
Yeah.
was pretty awesome. Um, Kyrie is one of the best offensive talents probably in the game now, but I think he's just like every once in a while there's some kind of like basketball savant
Hmm.
scorer who's kind of a brat
Oh yeah.
and is not used to people telling him no because they've always been like the basketball star.
Right.
And so if he says the world is flat, then the world is flat. Like if you're his friend, you're
Yeah.
just gonna like let him have that. But I mean, I hope you know I never have to like consider whether or not he's an anti-Semite.
Yeah. I mean, that would be nice not to have to worry about that.
Not to even have to think about it, because like
Yeah.
even when like it was all going on, I was like, I don't think he's anti-Semitic. I think he's
Right.
just an idiot.
Exactly. Exactly. He's just dumb as hell and like doesn't he's hard headed. That's what he is. Like he
And he
just
doesn't
won't
really,
ever.
well, there are people out there that are like paid to like study all these things
Hmm.
and understand all these issues the same way that he's paid to play basketball. But he has
Exactly.
no humility for that sort of thing. He thinks that because he has like some marginal amount of intelligence for a basketball player, that he should get up and like talk about all this stuff. And it's like, dude, you were in college for like 3 months, man. Like,
Yeah.
just because you read a book now doesn't mean like you know everything about all this stuff. And he thinks it's, I don't know,
Yeah.
but he's great.
I
He is
mean,
great at
yes,
what he does.
no one can ever doubt skill wise. I mean, even like we already talked about, like Gilbert Arenas, like skill wise, dude was insane.
Yep.
But the other stuff got in the way and injuries. But
Right. I mean, I think so. Kyrie has won a title before. Um, and like he's never led his own team, but I think that eventually people will, look at him as far greater than a guy like Gilbert Arenas because
yeah,
like
yeah,
he's just probably better, but for longer. But yeah, I just hope that this stuff doesn't become what people think about
yeah,
this, you know, because
definitely.
when you're living in it, like it's like hard to really care about it because it's so dumb.
And it's everywhere too. It's just like if you're on anywhere on social media, it's all you see, and it's kind
Yeah,
of annoying because
yeah,
I do miss just seeing like YouTube highlight reels of like him just
yeah,
dribbling insane and scoring.
yeah. That's the draw.
Right. But how do you feel about are you coming around to Ben Simmons?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I was kind of like felt bad for him
I did too.
because I, well, I'll say two things. I just like don't think that we knew or are ever gonna know really what was actually going on with him.
Yeah.
And maybe that's his fault, but then also like, fans shouldn't like send like death threats to you and like saying crazy stuff to you just because like you lost a game.
Yeah.
He like they said like Doc Rivers said like that game he held Trey Young to like 2 of 20 shooting, but no one talks about it
No,
just because he didn't dunk on that play.
dude,
They still would have
screw
lost.
Doc Rivers for that.
Yeah,
That was like so terrible.
yeah, but I think that like people are just they're expecting him to be something that he never really was,
Yeah.
like he could score a little bit, but like, you know, like he's there to kind of be a on-ball defender, like
Hmm.
shut down guy, get rebounds, get assists. Like he's not really there to like
No,
do
I,
that. And
I
that
feel like
probably
people
gets
want
lost.
him to be like this LeBron type, slashing superstar, when really he's actually probably closer to like a prime Rajon Rondo.
Right.
Like he'll like get you like the lowest level triple double, and he'll give you
Yeah.
lockdown D.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I was also gonna say, second thing is when I played sports, I feel like I didn't know a lot. Well, the world didn't know a lot about mental health.
Yeah.
And, I think as I was getting older, life was starting to get more complicated and I was dealing with some stuff.
Hmm.
And I didn't play well when that was going on. And I couldn't explain it to myself why it was happening. I couldn't explain it to other people, but I didn't feel like myself. And like, it sucks. He
For
probably
sure.
like gets a lot of joy out of playing basketball and like to lose that for a little while probably makes him feel like shit.
I mean, case in point, that rookie, for was he a rookie even? He was a couple years from the Mavs, who just retired with barely even playing in the NBA, and it's
Who's
all
that?
because uh Tyrell something. He honestly barely got to play for the Mavs because he was in the G League a lot. Um, and he cited that he was retiring because he just had so much anxiety from playing basketball
Oh,
that he just didn't really love the sport anymore, which is so unfortunate. He was a 2020 draft pick, Tyrell Terry.
oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just such a bummer, but like, dude, you're still like you're only like what 21 years old, 22 years old, and you're
Very
retiring from
underdeveloped.
basketball. Yeah, you're underdeveloped, and people already have this idea of what you should be as a player, despite being drafted. And even he was even like a late first round pick. Like
Right.
it sucks, and that's that too with the even what we were just talking about with the Nets having Kyrie, KD, and Ben Simmons, but here we are talking about Twitter, anti-Semitism, and mental health, and it's like so unfortunate that like their skill is actually all really good. They're all good players.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I don't know. I have a lot of friends that live in Philly, and some of whom, when Philly is in the playoffs, I like to text and you know, kind of rib on and stuff. And yeah, there's no getting through to them about Simmons, and I'm kind of just like, I don't know. I like Philly fans are ridiculous to me.
Philly sports fans are tough, man.
Like I feel like somewhere like in Philadelphia, someone is still unsure of whether Donovan McNabb was a good quarterback or something. You know what I mean? Because it's like they hated him, but he was the best that they ever had. He took them to a Super
Wild.
Bowl. He is just a really great player.
Yeah.
And I feel like, yeah, you'd always hear Philly people just being like, ah, he sucks. Like put
Right.
in some other lesser player. It's just like, guys, like get have a good thing. Like just, you know.
And too, it's like the only person that they would like they don't have those feelings about, it's like on like a silver platter, is like Allen Iverson, and that's because he really didn't have any down years in Philly.
Yeah, but I mean, he also never really won anything of
Right.
note. And like, I mean, I feel like I was, he was my favorite player when I was a kid.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
like, he didn't really care about playing basketball that much.
Right.
He's kind of an asshole. Like, so it's like, that's the guy that like, you guys choose to love, but like
Right.
this other guy who like, sacrifices all this stuff, you're gonna like jeer at him. And it's like, he's on your team.
Yeah. And if you try and confront a Philly sports fan about being a Philly sports fan, they will
No,
not believe it.
yeah, you can't do that.
That's trouble.
Yeah.
Trust me, the DMs on my Instagram account tell me otherwise if I say anything bad about anyone from Philly.
There you go. I
Um,
do love Joel Embiid.
oh yeah,
Love him. He's great.
yeah. What outside of Wizards Nets, what players are you really vibing with in the NBA right now?
Um, I think in a big way, um, as trite as this might seem, I think Steph Curry is still like one of my favorite players to follow because
Yeah,
um, he's changed the game in a way that like hasn't happened since like Jordan.
right.
And I don't know if we're ever going to see anyone like that for a long time.
That's
Just the
true.
way he plays and his style of play. Like, I think people are talking about him like he's the greatest shooter of all time. But I think when he's retired and, had some time to reflect, we're going to realize he was probably like, a top five player ever.
Yeah,
It's
I mean
just,
certainly has he has quite a few years left to play. He's already
yeah,
broken the record of three pointers
that
made,
smashed that record.
and he when he got drafted,
No one, yeah,
they thought maybe he'd be a spot up shooter, but like he can dribble, he can pass. He really is like an all around player.
yeah. His performance against Boston, I thought was just, in the finals, I thought that
Mhm.
that was just incredible. That made me a believer. I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
all right, this guy's something else. Um, but yeah, I like him. Um, you know, I like Jimmy Butler.
Yes. Okay.
Jimmy's a different guy, but
Jimmy's Jimmy
yeah, but he's got a lot of his heart. He's got a lot of heart, and I feel
for
like
sure.
I like that bubble run that they did.
Oh, that was some of my favorite basketball to watch.
That's so cool. Um, I like Giannis.
Yeah, I think
He's
Giannis and Luca are like the future of the NBA.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say Luca also. I don't know if I like Luca
Yeah,
as Luca, but like his game is like really cool.
for sure. But as far as personalities, I think you're right. I do think he is kind of low key like antagonist of the NBA. Like he's kind of a villain on the villain side of
Yeah,
the NBA.
yeah. He's definitely at least an anti-hero.
Yeah,
Um,
he knows he complains at the refs a lot, and
he
yeah,
flops and does all the
yeah,
stuff that people don't like about European players.
yeah.
Um,
What about Zion? He's been playing out of his mind.
well, I mean, Zion's one of those guys where it's like, especially when he played his first full year,
Mhm.
you were like, all right, I mean, he's just doing exactly what he did before. That's
Right,
awesome. But, we just haven't had enough of it yet.
right, right.
Because
I feel like we
I
really
don't
got
I
to
don't know if I
embrace
like
these years.
I don't know if I like the Pelicans, but I feel like Zion's one of the most interesting players. I just hope he lasts
I know.
long enough for him to do something more,
I hope his ankles don't turn into dust.
Yeah. I think it's like a thing where it's like someone that big is not supposed to be
Totally.
able to do that stuff athletically. So after a while, your joints just kind of,
Yeah.
you know,
I actually I like this Pelicans team. I think they're interesting, and this whole little rivalry with the Suns is really fun.
oh, it is a rivalry.
I apparently like this year is like the establishment
Oh,
of
they
that
knocked him out
because
in the playoffs, right?
yeah, and
Okay,
then
I remember.
a couple weeks ago Zion did that windmill dunk when at the end of the game, and they were all pissed about it. And then they played each other like 3 times in the same week, which is really weird.
Hmm,
But
interesting.
it's apparently like a little rivalry now.
So my dislike of the Pelicans doesn't really have a lot to do with who's on the team. It's more like I hate their mascot and their uniforms. I'm just like
Yes.
I'm anti all of that. And even their arena, their arena is like the Smoothie King Center. It's like
Yes, the
what
least cool arena name.
I don't know, they're not giving me much there.
I just feel like every time there's like an opportunity to rebrand a sports team, like there's so much like I'm a graphic designer, so like I'm super into it, and like you put that out and I'm like, damn, I'm so bummed out by that because it could have been so cool.
Yeah, with
I don't
that
hate
kind
the
of budget.
name. I'm fine with them being called the Pelicans, but I think the color scheme is very like 2003 Cavs.
Yeah. It's just ugh, I
Yeah,
don't know. It's kind of
I
ugly.
feel you.
Um I like Ja.
Oh yeah,
Ja's great.
he's so much fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people will probably get mad at me for saying this, but skill set wise, he's the closest thing I think we've seen to Jordan. Um, in
Ooh.
that style of play. I'm not
Yeah,
saying like he's Jordan. I'm just saying like his style of play is pretty remarkable. Like it's pretty insane.
he is the guy that you would want, like one on one.
Yeah,
Like he is that pure like he will go at you, and he does like he is a good team player, but he can do it by himself.
he can. He's very heroic in that way, and
Yeah,
his like vertical leap is like I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
people compare him to Rose a lot, and there is some similarity there, but they're still a little different from each other.
Yeah, Rose is probably a little bit better of a shooter, right?
Yeah, he had that mid range game unlocked, but I don't know. Jaws working on his 3 point game. It's getting better. Um, yeah, he's super fun to watch. I'm excited about like where the NBA is going, and like I know we're running on the end of like LeBron and Steph in the next few years probably. Say what Steph's got like 4 years left, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, he could just probably shoot forever.
Also, probably. Um, yeah, I think the game is in good hands. You know, the next crop
Right.
is like Jason Tatum and Brandon Ingram,
Ugh, if he could
guys
stay
like
healthy,
that.
man.
Just people that were like drafted around then.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tatum has actually become a superstar, which is I think is really awesome.
Yeah.
Devin Booker is a star, you know, and they're all like 25, you know,
Yep.
so
The aforementioned Tata, Giannis and Luca.
them too as well.
Yeah. That's so there's plenty of superstars right there. Uh cool, man. The last thing I had is I don't know if you saw my note about
I
preparing.
didn't.
We're gonna make like a little we're gonna make a band out of NBA players. It's
Okay,
supposed to be super dumb and silly. Um
so the first thing that came to mind, and we don't have to use this,
yeah.
but I think that if you had a four-piece rock band of uh the Warriors minus the center,
Which is kind of what the Warriors are, right?
just great rock band. You know, if you have Steph, Clay, Wiggins, and Draymond, you know, you got your solid. rhythm section and Wiggins and Draymond.
Mm-hmm.
You got, you know, Clay's, you know, he's got some of the spark, but Steph is the star.
Yeah.
He handles all the glitz and the glam and stuff. It's just like, you know, enough space for everyone to have some light. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So,
But
but now you got Jordan Poole upset, and he's gonna make his own band.
he's gonna start a side project and blow up. But the non-dubs option, I said Kyrie will be the misunderstood, like tortured genius singer or something.
Mhm.
Self-proclaimed genius singer. Think like Jim Morrison or something, or like I
Mhm.
don't know. It's kind of a weird to conflate the two, but
That's the
both
whole point of it, though. It's great.
they're both full of shit. So I think um I I said Jokic is or Jokic. How do you say his last
I
name?
think it's Jokic. Yeah.
Jokic. He, because he's so goofy in his personality is like, he's kind of like wishy-washy, but he's just so solid, like you need him. So
Yeah.
he reminds me of like a lot of drummers.
Okay. Yeah.
A lot of drummers are like, they're like, their idiosyncrasies are like almost unbearable sometimes. Having a good drummer is like second to none. Like you just have to have it. So you're just like, all right, fine. You
Yeah.
know,
And I mean, a good drummer is also gonna, assist the rest of the band, right?
exactly. Exactly. Sets the rest of us up. I said KD could be lead guitar because he's got those long ass arms,
Yes.
and probably huge hands, so he could probably play some crazy stuff, shred up some riffs.
Yes. Absolutely.
Um, and he strikes me as like a like uh played some shows with Wilco like a long time ago,
He has a
and
whole different life, like a different era that he was a part of.
and Nils Klein backstage, he never stopped playing music. He always had some stringed instrument in his hand. I could see KD being that guy,
Oh man, I love that comparison.
right? I said Giannis on bass because he's dependable.
Yeah.
You know where he's gonna be. He's like the glue, but he also knows when, it's time to do his thing and stuff like that. But he's dependable,
Right.
even keeled.
That's an intimidating four piece.
Well, I have one more.
Oh, okay.
So I said that Luca is on synth keys and samples. He's the young savant producer type that hasn't quite figured out how to lead, but they're too talented to keep out of your band. They add this extra flair, and you can't do without it. So he's almost in the Jokic
Yeah, yeah.
zone, I guess. But
Luca is like Panda Bear to Animal Collective.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like he's just got it, but he never quite
Yeah.
put it all together. I mean, I hope that.
That's perfect. I feel that. Yeah, that's really good. Um, oh man, I can't stop thinking about KD as Nels Klein. That's just so perfect. I
Well, he's
love
like
that.
that with basketball, man. He just
Yeah,
never
he really
stops.
is. Do you got a name for this band by any chance?
Oh, no.
That's a
Yeah,
tough one, but
naming bands is never gotten easier.
no, it's not. I actually mentioned this the other day. I feel like you always have these moments where like that's a good band name, and then when you actually have to come up with a band name, you're like, I can't think of anything.
Yeah, you can't remember that one name that you thought was cool, or you'd be like, not
Brutal.
from this project, or like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, all right, dude. That was awesome. I really appreciate you joining and coming on. This was good to talk hoops a little bit.
Hey, This is what I do all day.
Yeah.
It's music and basketball, so it's you know, strangely perfect for me to
Tell
do
me about
this.
it. Yeah. Uh, but all right, yeah, you enjoy your league pass. And I'll catch you later, dude.
All right, take care.